Around the world, images of women, everyday portrayals of women in film, television, glossy magazines, and commercials. But do these images foster stereotypes? Do they undermine gender equality? I'm Mike Walter in Los Angeles. Let's take it full frame. The gender gap. It's been with us a very long time, from the 19th century suffrage movement and even before. Women everywhere fought for economic and educational equality and political empowerment. They fought to erase stereotypes. And in our time, they're still fighting to alter portrayals of women in media and entertainment, which tend to undermine the status of women in everyday life. Since 2004, with her Institute on Gender in Media, one person here in Los Angeles has focused sharply on this issue. Her name is Gina Davis. The acclaimed actress has achieved the highest accolades in Hollywood.
How come Daryl let you go?
Because I didn't ask him.
He's gonna kill you!
I left him a note.
Something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong. Those weird hairs that were growing out of your back, I had them analyzed. But they were definitely not human.
You think about it and give me a call, Muriel. Remember? Muriel Pritchett. Or just call for no reason. Call and talk.
Talk?
Sure. Don't you ever get the urge to do that?
Not really.
And she became the first American female head of state on television.
I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to take the oath of office. I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
She's also an Academy Award winner.
And the Oscar goes to Gina Davis, The Accidental Tourist.
And she was one of the stars of the 1991 film Thelma and Louise. One critic 20 years later called it, quote, the last great film about women. Before we meet Gina Davis, here's Sandra Hughes with a look at the myths and facts about women in and as portrayed by the global media industry.
Hollywood, the movie-making capital, where stars are born and cemented in stone, where politics are liberal and celebrities pride themselves on progressive attitudes. But those attitudes don't always apply if you're a woman making a film in Hollywood. When it comes to the big budget studio releases,
looks like you're giving the orders now.
It's still a man's world.
Every decision I make has that in mind. Every hire, every time I speak, every time I make a commencement address, every time I teach, every time I choose a movie. But let me tell you something. I've won an Academy Award, I've had a gold star, pressed on my forehead, and it's still enormously difficult for me to get movies made that are by or for women.
Mandalay Pictures president Kathy Schulman says she's had her share of doors closed because of her gender. Her organization, Women in Film, has financed research that backs up her claims.
Over the course of those years, I realized that the barriers to women, both in front and behind the camera, are really quite significant.
Start here when I say action.
Looking at modern cinema, if we look at it, within that period, there have been some fabulous exceptions, but we've made no measurable change as it regards opportunities for women.
Whoa, cut.
And the winner is... Well, the time has come. Kathryn Bigelow!
Only one woman has ever won Best Director at the Academy Awards, but Kathryn Bigelow's success in directing The Hurt Locker hasn't opened the floodgates to women filmmakers. A study funded by Women in Film and the Sundance Institute looked at 820 films screened at the Sundance Film Festival between 2002 and 2012. The study found that women directed just under 24% of all the films at the festival, but less than 17% of the feature films and about a third of the documentaries.
We lost the picture actually in December.
Naila Jefferson made the documentary Vanishing Pearls by herself. But when she needed to hire help,
most of the people that I worked with on this film were men. It was hard for me to find women in my crew.
it may be just as hard to find women on screen as it is off. Only 1/3 of the speaking roles in last year's top 100 grossing films were women, and just 15% of those films had a female lead. Take the picture! The most recent study funded by the Gina Davis Institute looking at films between 2006 and 2011 finds that even in family films, less than a quarter had female leads. And in all films studied, when women did appear on screen,
females are 3 times as likely to be shown in sexually revealing clothing, partially naked, and thin. Now, some of these gals are so thin that their waist approximates the circumference of their upper arm. And we like to say about these gals on my project, they have no room for a womb or any other internal organ.
Natalie Taylor has been an actress in Hollywood for 14 years. And just celebrated with friends her latest role in NBC's About a Boy.
Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy the show, and let's do it!
She's not happy about the difference in male and female role descriptions.
For men, the description would be like, okay, we want somebody intelligent or that comes off affluent. It really has nothing to do with their physical characteristics, but as soon as you get to a description or a role where they're asking for, say, a mom, they say hot mom, sexy, big boobs. So I'm just like, it's really superficial.
Kathy Schulman says fewer women are getting the green light for big studio projects.
Clearly, the problem is that the financial networks, most of which are in fact controlled by men, but not entirely, do seem to be rejecting risk when it regards projects that are by and for women.
The Hunger Games Catching Fire burns that theory. It was the top-grossing film of 2013, written by a woman and starring Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen.
Of course she's a good role model for girls. She's strong and she's a fighter and she's not afraid to stand up for what's right.
And many of the women who have climbed the ladder in Hollywood are also standing up for what's right.
When women are in gatekeeping positions, more women are hired, and thus the subject matter tends to start to skew more female.
Women with purpose in front of and behind the camera. Not a Hollywood fairy tale ending, just the beginning of a powerful rewrite. For Full Frame, this is Sandra Hughes in Hollywood.